My settled one. Not the concept of it from a safe distance, but the actual texture of it. What it feels like to kneel in a quiet room and pour out everything you have been holding, and then to stand up and walk back into the same day you were trying to escape from, carrying the same weight you thought you had laid down, wondering if the ceiling was the ceiling after all. You have been in that place. Perhaps you are in it right now as these words reach you. You knocked on doors. You returned when the first knocking produced no answer. You prayed without stopping, not because it was easy, but because stopping felt like the one thing you could not allow yourself to do. You held on when every honest part of you whispered that holding on was the hardest and most unreasonable choice available. You kept your hands open when the easier thing would have been to close them and walk away. And yet the answer has not arrived in the shape you expected, not through the door you were watching so carefully, not in the timing your heart had mapped out, not in the form that would have made the most sense to the part of you that understands logic and sequence and how things are supposed to go. And so the question formed. It grew slowly at first, the way small doubts do, beginning as a whisper that was easy to dismiss in the morning when you were strong, becoming louder in the quiet hours, most persistent in the moments between sleeping and waking when your defenses were down and your thoughts ran without supervision. The question is this: is he still working? Did the prayer land anywhere? Am I somehow outside the circle of the ones who receive answers? Is there something fundamentally different about my situation, my history, my person, that puts me outside the territory of what he does for others? My settled one, listen carefully. I am going to answer that question, and I am going to answer it completely. And I need you to stay with me until the answer is finished, because the truth is longer than the fear and cannot be received in pieces. Every delay in your life has been a deliberate act of love, not neglect, not forgetfulness, not an oversight in a crowded divine calendar, not punishment for something you did or something you failed to do, not a withdrawal of favor because you stopped performing well enough. A deliberate act of love. That word, deliberate, carries the whole weight of what I am saying. It means that nothing in your waiting was accidental. Nothing in your process was random. Every single moment that felt like unanswered prayer and empty silence has been a moment of precise and intentional construction. I was building something inside you that could only be built in that particular kind of quiet, that particular kind of pressure, that particular kind of night. The trial you are finishing is not your enemy. It was never designed to destroy you. It was designed to make you into the person who could carry what I am preparing to place in your hands. And those two things, what I am preparing and the person I am preparing, have to be matched to each other with a precision that takes time. That is what this season has been. Not a mistake, not a punishment. Preparation. Your scars are not your story. They are your proof. Hold those words for a moment. Do not rush past them. Let them settle into the places where doubt has been making its home, where fear has been sending its daily correspondence, where the accumulated weight of unanswered questions has started to leave a mark. Your scars are not your story. They are your proof. Proof that you survived what came against you. Proof that the things that arrived in your life with the intention of ending you did not succeed. Proof that in every single hard season, through every night that felt endless, through every moment when the ground beneath you seemed to shift and provide nothing solid to stand on, I was with you, holding what you thought was slipping through your fingers, sustaining what you thought was ending, keeping alive what you thought had died. Those scars tell the truth about you. And the truth is not that you are broken. The truth is that you were here for all of it. And so was I. I have watched you carry weight that was never meant to be permanent. I have seen the way you move through your days with something heavy attached to you that other people cannot see from the outside. Something you have learned to hide well enough that the world around you does not always notice it, but that you feel every single hour of every day. The anxiety that lives in your chest, the low-grade tension that never fully releases, the way your mind moves ahead of the present moment into the territory of what might go wrong, running calculations on scenarios that have not happened and may never happen, exhausting yourself with problems that exist only as possibilities. I have seen all of that, not from a distance, not in the abstract way that someone knows about a general category of human suffering. I have seen the specific texture of your particular experience, in your particular life, in your particular season. I have sat with you in those moments, not at a remove, not observing from some place beyond the reach of what you were feeling, but right there, so close that the weight you were carrying was in my hands. At the same time, it was on your shoulders. You were not alone in those nights, in the ones when sleep would not come and your mind would not stop, in the ones when you lay still in the dark with your eyes closed and tried to force the silence to feel peaceful instead of crushing, in the ones when the distance between where you are and where you need to be felt so vast that you could not find a way to even begin thinking about how to cross it. In every single one of those nights, I was there, not as an idea you were holding on to, not as a concept you were reaching toward in the hope that faith would create the presence you needed, but actually there, actually present, actually alongside you in the very place where you were. You have never been alone in this. And now, after the longest stretch of this particular trial, I want you to look at what you are still holding, not what you lost in the process, not what the season cost you. Those losses are real and I am not minimizing them. But look, for a moment, at what is still in your hands after everything that came against it. Your faith, even if it is small and scarred, and sometimes barely recognizable as the thing it used to be. Your willingness to come back to me again, even when the previous time produced no visible change. Your refusal to let go completely of the belief that I am good, even when nothing in your immediate circumstances was confirming it. The fact that you are here right now, listening, still open, still searching, still asking. These are not small things. In the economy of what matters, these are extraordinary things. And they were forged in the fire that you kept asking to end sooner. I do not allow difficulty into your life carelessly. Every test I have permitted has had a graduation day written into it from the very beginning. Before it started, before you felt it, before the first hard moment arrived, there was always an end built into it. There was always a limit beyond which the trial could not pass. And you are closer to that graduation now than you have ever been. You are nearer to the end of this particular chapter than the beginning of it. The weight you are feeling is the weight of the last stretch of road before the valley floor. And though the end is not yet visible, it is measurably closer today than it was the last time you felt this tired. The pressure you feel right now is not a sign that things are getting worse. It is the pressure of something being formed. Pressure is what transforms coal into diamonds. That is not a metaphor I use casually. It is a description of a real physical process in which something common becomes something extraordinary through sustained compression. The diamond does not become a diamond in spite of the pressure. It becomes a diamond because of it. And what I am building in you through this season has the quality of something that cannot be rushed, cannot be faked, cannot be manufactured by a shorter or easier process. It is being formed the way durable things are always formed, through patient, sustained, costly construction. Your scars are not your story. They are your proof. I want to speak to the specific voice that has been telling you otherwise, the one that arrives in the quiet places and recites the list of reasons your situation is different. The voice that says, the promise is real, but perhaps not for you, that the blessing lands on other people, more faithful people, people who did not make the mistakes you made. That voice is not mine. I need you to hear that clearly. That voice is not mine. I do not speak to my children in the language of comparison. I do not hold one child up beside another and calculate whose need is more deserving, whose faith is more impressive, whose history is cleaner. I am the God of the individual. I am the Father who knows every single child by name, by detail, by the specific inventory of everything they carry, and who responds to each one with a love that is not diluted by the existence of all the others. My love for you is not less because there are others. My attention to your situation is not divided because other situations also exist. When I turn toward you, I am fully turned. When I hear you, I hear everything. When I respond to the exact shape of your exact need. So let me tell you, in the clearest possible terms, what I am telling you today. The answer is coming, not the approximate version of it, not a consolation that bears some resemblance to what you asked for. The answer, and it is coming at the precise moment when receiving it will change everything in the way I always intended it to change everything. Not a moment before that, because a moment before that, it could not do what it is designed to do. And not a moment after that, because my timing does not run late. Do not rush away from this moment. There is something valuable being formed in the pace of where you are, and acceleration right now would cost you something you cannot afford to lose. I know the urgency you feel. I know the pressure of the unresolved situation, and how it makes every day that passes without resolution feel like a day lost. But the days are not being lost. Every single one of them is doing something. Every single one of them is adding to what is being built. And when you look back from the other side of this, the days you spent in the waiting will not look like wasted time. They will look like the most essential part of the whole story. There is a room in my house that was prepared for you before the world was set in its current shape. Not a temporary arrangement, not a borrowed corner. A room that exists specifically because you exist, prepared with the kind of attention that a parent gives to a room where a child they love will live. Your name is on the door of that room. It was placed there before you were born. It is there right now. And nothing in the timeline of your life, not the failures, not the seasons when you felt far from me, not the moments when doubt lived in you longer than faith did, not any of it, has removed your name from that door. You are family. You were made family not by your behavior, but by my decision. And a father does not withdraw from his child because the child is walking through something hard. A father moves toward the child in those moments. A father closes the distance. A father makes himself most present at exactly the points where the child feels most alone. That is what I have been doing throughout this entire trial. I have been moving toward you in it, not waiting at a comfortable distance for it to be over. Every time the wait increased, I came closer. Every time the silence in your prayer felt heavier, my presence was nearer to that silence. Every time the darkness felt like it was pressing in from all sides, I was already inside the darkness with you, not monitoring from outside, not holding the door open and waiting for you to emerge, but present in the center of the hardest moment, with a love that does not know how to leave. This is not what religion describes. Religion describes a God you approach in the correct way and receive from if your approach was correct. What I am describing is a relationship. A father who runs. A father who does not wait for you to clean yourself up before coming to him. A father who sees you coming from a long way off and starts moving before you arrive, before you have worked out what to say, before you have rehearsed your case. You are that child, the one he runs toward, not because you have been perfect, not because your faith has been steady, not because you never doubted or never wavered or never spent a season where I felt more like a concept than a presence, but because I chose you, and what I choose, I keep. My love for you is not a response to your performance. It is not suspended when you fail. It does not diminish when your grip on it loosens. It does not withdraw to teach you a lesson about holding on more tightly. My love for you is the same at your worst moment as at your best, the same in your most faithful season as in your most doubtful one. It is the same. It has always been the same, and it will remain the same long after everything about your circumstances has changed. Let that truth land somewhere deep. My love does not measure you. My love holds you. Now let me speak to you about what is positioned just on the other side of this season. There are things I have been preparing for you that your current sightlines cannot reach. Paths being cleared right now of obstacles that would have caused damage if you had arrived before the clearing was complete. Relationships being positioned with a relational intelligence that operates far beyond what human planning can arrange. People whose lives are moving toward intersection with yours through circumstances that look coincidental from the inside, but are entirely intentional from where I stand. Resources that are being assembled according to a blueprint that was drawn specifically for you, not a generic provision off a shelf, but a specific response to the specific inventory of your specific life. I work in details. I am not assembling a general good outcome for a general person. I am building a particular life for the particular person I made, accounting for every particular thing about you. The gifts that have not been fully used yet, the capacities that have been formed in the crucible of this season, the call that was written into your design before you were born, the desires that have been placed in your heart as seeds that I intend to germinate in the right season. I know the prayers you prayed once and did not repeat because the repetition felt like hope spent on nothing. I know the things you asked for and then quietly stopped asking for because the silence made it seem like the answer was no. I know the desires you have stopped naming out loud because naming them made their absence more painful than staying quiet. I want to sit with that for a moment because it matters more than you might think. The prayers you stopped praying, the ones you retired because the silence was too costly to keep pushing against, those prayers are still alive in me. They did not expire when you stopped sending them. They did not get filed away as requests that were considered and declined. They are alive in the space between us in the same way that a planted seed is alive underground, not visible, not demonstrating any evidence of its existence from the surface, but doing exactly what it was designed to do in the dark. The darkness is where things germinate. The darkness is where the first green shoot forms before it has anywhere to push toward the light. The darkness is not the end of the seed's story. It is the beginning, and the prayers you planted in faith, even the ones that felt like they fell into nothing, are doing what seeds do. They are working. They are alive. And when the season is right, what was underground will appear above the surface, and you will see that the waiting was not emptiness. It was gestation. Some of what you stopped asking for was not no. It was not yet. The difference between those two answers is everything. No means the request will not be honored. Not yet means the timing is still being arranged for